us in the 21st century to be aware of what options are available, what is the situation going on. And we've been joined by someone who's been working in telecommunications for the last over 15 years, and he's worked all over the world with different huge organizations to discuss the role that telecommunication can play in helping the youth achieve their goals and become take more leadership roles. Because a lot of the times, we teach them to kind of, work their way from the bottom, but we don't tell them actually once you reach the top what characteristics are needed, what kind of work ethic is needed, what kind of dedication and commitment is needed as well. So we're going to be discussing all these things. So for that, we have been joined by Sahil Adeem. He is the CEO of Source Code. He has also been a leadership consultant for over 15 years, training with Bell Canada and Telenor and other telecommunications. And also he has been working with FMCG here in Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. Now tell us, I'm going to start the conversation because there's a lot to discuss. What is Source Code?
Actually, Source Code was invented because during my career, I realized that we have lost the tendency to substantiate our claims. Mm-hmm. That's how simple the problem was to me. And then we started digging out why is this going on, and through a lot of work, we found out that there's no science behind the practice of art that we actually are, and most of the things are based on a lot of experience and opinions thrown around by a lot of people. So there's a lot of confusion that actually brews inside a professional these days, and when you ask them why you're doing it, it does not have any answer, because the usual answer is because this is how it's done. So we had to figure out what the actual problem is, go to the science of things, and then ultimately we reached the conclusion that unless there's absolute leadership acumen developed and it is institutionalized, it is made as a subject matter, there's not going to be a country worth living in less than 50 years or something.
So no, but in leadership roles, the characteristics or personality traits that you need for leadership, don't you learn those as you go along as well? Doesn't that come with experience?
That's an excellent question. Actually, you learn whatever. There are a lot of channels that actually you learn from. Now, if you have a lot of confused teachers, inapt mentors, I'm only going to perfect whatever I've already practiced. So practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So we have to, right now, what the community right now is suffering from is to actually unlearn rather than learn. Because we have, over the last 30 odd years, we've perfected that specific unawareness of the actual core definitions of what leadership is. And that's the real problem, not just corporate, the whole community is suffering from. And when we started the commercial concern of Source Code, we did not realize at that time. But when we started going on training, especially for students, I realized that I'm not going to say most, all of my Pakistani students are actually chasing the American dream. And this is like the code of the day.
Okay, dream. I think right now the world is all upside down on its head at the moment. But now, going forward, you've started going to the universities and you started giving these training sessions. So what do you incorporate in your training?
Actually, we are, first, I would have easily reminded them of Iqbal's dream or the actual core of why you're here. But a reminder actually, is begging for a prerequisite that there has to be an awareness for which you are reminding them of. These students are not even aware of what the actual purpose of this country was or their own being was. So leadership cannot be developed. Now, I'm going to give you an example. First, we all know what the institution of school is in Pakistan. When a child starts early, patriotism is brewed inside his mind, and we declare Pakistan as a house with well-guarded walls. Now, as soon as the child declares it as a house, all the definitions of a household actually apply on that child. And it is the duty of a leader, and all the leaders that are actually running the country right now, and even before, I'm not naming anybody, everyone is involved. The same syndromes and disorders of a broken family is applied on every student. I can actually see all of those specific syndromes. and disorders of a broken family child.
Okay, that's a very dramatic statement there, very bold statement right now. So what do you mean by, okay, so what? They're psychologically traumatized, they have no idea what's going on? What do you mean by, like, you see the effects of a broken home in students? What does that mean?
What are the effects of the broken family? The children represent low self-esteem. You can see that on the airports of Toronto or New York when Pakistanis land there. You can see how low self-esteem we have. You're not going to see that here because we're inside the picture. It's going to get blurry on us. Suppressed anger. You can see that on the streets of Pakistan. You could cross a red light and everyone's going to start pick a fight with you. Okay?
Yeah, I'm one of those people these days. I've got so much road rage.
You can see that outrage in every single aspect of our life.
Yeah,
you know, does that mean we're a suppressed nation? Who's doing this? This is our leader. Now, I'm not going to use the word leaders. I'm going to call it lack of leadership.
Okay.
Because if the mother is fighting with the father, both are scolding each other every day, the child actually.
Okay, no, okay. So now that's kind of the political, kind of economic situation there. That's what
Actually, no, that's a philosophical situation.
Okay, so now, so you're talking about the leaders. So who is the leadership in this now? So the students? Who are they looking to? Who are you referring to as their leader?
Okay, another good question.
Yeah. No, because you're throwing out all this philosophy, so I want to get to the core of it.
Yeah,
so,
I'm going to explain to you.
So who's teaching them?
Facebook is teaching them. Steve Jobs is teaching them.
Right.
Bill Gates is teaching them. Even though Jinnah should have taught them, we should have reminded what the dream of Iqbal was. What was the purpose of us being here? Can you just imagine just let me paint a picture in front of you.
Yeah.
Imagine the day when Pakistan was made. We can't even imagine the high self-esteem that the nation at that day was enjoying. And not just that day, but till that leadership stayed, that core was intact.
Right.
As soon as those people went, the leadership traits, the characteristics of leadership stayed, but the purpose was lost.
Okay.
And now we have a lot of characteristics flown around through Facebook or YouTube or whatever, through alien leadership mechanics.
Okay, so basically not healthy versions of what we should be looking to as role models, basically.
They are healthy, but they're not relevant.
Okay, they're not relevant. So so now we've kind of highlighted the issue and the problem within Pakistan. So what are you guys doing to address it?
First,
because I think we've talked about the negative stuff. So let's talk about now what you guys are doing to make it positive.
Okay. Well, we're trying to save the country.
Okay.
And everyone's job is to save the country.
Absolutely.
You know what Ghazali said, if you cannot lead this kingdom, you're not supposed to lead any other kingdom. Okay, you're not at liberty to even claim for that leadership. So we are actually trying to go all over the country, trying to get that teachers training program in so that teachers can actually try and inculcate the real purpose inside students. And I'm talking about school here. I'm not talking about universities here.
No. You start at kindergarten level, right?
Yeah, we have to start an actual character building, not the character building of Martin Luther King. I'm talking about the relevant most people who people can relate to. You have to assume that this is a very dangerous situation we're in. And unless we call it an emergency, we're not going to treat it as an emergency. So we start inculcating those clear concepts of why we are existing in this part of the planet. What happened? What did people do to make us, live here safely and practice whatever we can?
Okay,